The scent of Zara's cooking was irresistible. It wafted through the bustling African village like a spell, tugging at the hearts and stomachs off everyone who breathed it in. To step past the arched wooden door of her restaurant was to enter a world of tantalizing flavors and laughter, where the worries of life melted away with each bite of her savory delicacies. Zara herself was just as magnetic as her food, with flawless caramel skin, eyes that sparkled like embers, and a smile that could disarm even the most skeptical soul. She carried herself with a grace that made her the envy of every woman and the desire of every man. She knew the villagers by name, their stories, their struggles, and with a single word, she made them feel seen and special. Her restaurant wasn't just popular, it was legendary. Travelers from distant lands braved the treacherous roads to taste her cooking, claiming it held magic in every bite. But no one dared to question why her meals left them so satisfied, why her youth seemed untouched by time, or why the forest behind the village always seemed darker near her home. For behind Zara's radiant smile lay a secret as dark as the forest depths. Zara was no ordinary woman. The key to her success, her beauty, and her influence was human blood. In the shadowy heart of the forbidden forest, she knelt before an ancient altar, her hands steady as she carried out the grim rituals that sustained her. To keep her youth and power, she offered up the lives of unsuspecting villagers who vanished in the night, their cries swallowed by the forest's silence. And the villagers, blinded by her charm and their love for her food, never suspected a thing. Anna was different from the other children in the village. While they ran through the streets playing games or gathering around the storytellers, Anna often sat alone beneath the ancient baobab tree that marked the village square. Her dark eyes, filled with quiet intensity, seemed to see more than others could. Raised by her grandmother, the village's former spiritual guide, Anna had grown up steeped in the traditions and stories of their ancestors. Her grandmother had taught her about the delicate balance between light and darkness, the power of faith, and the dangers that lurked in the shadows of the mysterious forest. When her grandmother passed, Anna became an orphan, but she carried the woman's wisdom in her heart. Though just 17, she possessed a maturity that often unsettled the other villagers. She noticed things they didn't: the subtle shift in the wind, the strange silence in the forest, and, most of all, the growing unease that seemed to settle over the village like a creeping fog. It began with the disappearances. At first, it was easy to dismiss a hunter who hadn't returned, a merchant who failed to come back from a trip to the next village. But then the vanishings grew closer to home. A farmer's son, a maid from Zara's restaurant, a child playing too close to the edge of the forest. Each disappearance left whispers in its wake, but no answers. Anna felt it in her bones something was wrong. The villagers, blinded by their routines and lulled by the comforts of Zara's thriving restaurant, refused to see the patterns. But Anna couldn't ignore the strange chills that prickled her skin or the haunting dreams that filled her nights. The elders dismissed her concerns, calling her a child with too much imagination. Even the village chief, a frequent guest at Zara's restaurant, brushed off her warnings with a hearty laugh. "You spend too much time alone, Anna," he said, his belly shaking as he spoke. "Go and enjoy life. Zara's cooking would do you some good." But Anna couldn't shake the feeling that the heart of their village was beginning to rotund, that Zara, with her perfect smile and flawless facade, was at the center of it all. The first disappearance was easy to overlook. Kofi, a hunter known for his solitary nature, simply didn't return one evening. The villagers assumed he had wandered too deep into the forest or been taken by wild animals. But when more people began to vanish, always at night, always without a trace, whispers of fear rippled through the community. Anna paid close attention. She had always been observant, a skill her grandmother had cultivated in her since childhood. It wasn't just the disappearances that unsettled her, it was the patterns. The missing villagers all had something in common. Many had worked at Zara's restaurant or spent significant time there in the days before they vanished. At first, Anna brushed the thought aside. Zara was beloved by everyone. She was kind, generous, and seemed genuinely invested in the welfare of the village. But as the days passed, Anna began to notice things that didn't add up. Zara's kitchen, usually filled with bustling staff, seemed quieter lately. Fewer workers were seen leaving the restaurant after closing. And when Anna casually asked one of the new servers about the missing staff, the young woman avoided eye contact and muttered something vague about people finding better opportunities. Anna also noticed how the air around Zara seemed different. Her radiant smile was as bright as ever, but there was something in her eyes, something cold, and calculating that sent shivers down Anna's spine. At times, Anna thought she caught Zara watching her, as if aware of her growing unease. One night, unable to sleep, Anna ventured to the edge of the forest. A faint light flickered deep within the trees, far beyond where anyone dared to tread. The villagers had long avoided the forest, believing it to be cursed, but Anna couldn't ignore the pull of her curiosity. She stepped closer but stopped when she heard a low, mournful wail drifting through the air. It was faint, like the echo of a ghostly cry, and it chilled her to the bone. The next morning, she tried to share her concerns with the elders, but they dismissed her again. "Zara has done nothing but bring prosperity to this village," one of them said sternly. "You should be grateful, not spreading wild rumors." Frustrated but undeterred, Anna decided to investigate on her own. She began to keep a careful eye on Zara and her restaurant, jotting down every strange occurrence she observed: the faint flicker of light in the forest, the uneasy looks on the faces of Zara's workers, and the way Zara seemed to grow more radiant with each passing day. It all pointed to a sinister truth. Anna's suspicions grew stronger, but she knew she couldn't confront Zara without proof. If the villagers wouldn't believe her now, she would have to find a way to expose the darkness lurking behind Zara's perfect smile. The moon hung low in the sky, its silvery light filtering through the dense canopy of the forest. Anna clutched the small wooden charm her grandmother had given her years ago, a talisman meant to ward off evil. Her heart pounded as she pushed deeper into the forbidden woods, guided by the flicker of light she had seen the night before. The air grew colder the further she ventured. The usual hum of nocturnal creatures was absent, replaced by an eerie silence that pressed on her ears. Twisted vines snaked across her path, and the gnarled trees seemed to lean closer, as if watching her every move. At last, she came to a clearing. In the center stood an altar made of dark stone, etched with ancient symbols that seemed to writhe under the moonlight. Around it, dozens of small, flickering orbs hovered in the air, casting an otherworldly glow. As Anna approached, the orbs shifted, revealing tortured faces within their light. The realization hit her like a blow. These were not just lights, but the trapped souls of Zara's victims. Anna's breath caught when she recognized one of the faces. It was her grandmother. Her once kind eyes were filled with sorrow, her lips moving in silent pleas. A sob escaped Anna's throat as she fell to her knees. "Grandmother?" she whispered, tears streaming down her face. The spirit seemed to respond, though no sound reached Anna's ears. Instead, a vision filled her mind, a scene of Zara at this very altar, performing rituals in the dead of night. Anna saw her grandmother standing firm against Zara, refusing to bow to her dark magic, only to be overpowered and bound by a curse too strong to resist. The vision faded, leaving Anna trembling. The truth was undeniable now. Zara had been sacrificing villagers to this ancient shrine, binding their souls to maintain her youth and power. Her grandmother had tried to stop her and paid the ultimate price. Anna stood, anger burning away her fear. She couldn't let this continue. She had to free the souls, protect her village, and end Zara's reign of terror. But she also knew she couldn't do it alone. Clutching her grandmother's charm tightly, she whispered a promise into the night. "I will stop her. I'll free you and everyone she's taken." With that, Anna turned and disappeared into the forest shadows, the weight of her mission heavy on her shoulders, but her resolve unshakable. The next morning, Anna stood in the village square, her heart racing as she prepared to share what she had seen. The memories of the shrine, the glowing orbs, and her grandmother's sorrowful face were fresh in her mind. She had no choices, had to warn the villagers, no matter the cost. "Listen to me," Anna called out, her voice trembling but determined. "I hear is a darkness in our village, and it's Zara. She's behind the disappearances." The villagers, busy with their morning routines, paused to look at her. Some exchanged uneasy glances, while others scoffed or shook their heads. "Anna, what nonsense is this?" one of the elders demanded, stepping forward with a stern expression. "Zara has done nothing but bring prosperity to our village. You would accuse her of such evil without proof?" Anna clenched her fists, her voice rising with desperation. "I've seen it with my own eyes. I hear is a shrine where she sacrifices villagers to gain power. Their souls are trapped there, even my grandmother's." The crowd murmured in disbelief. Some looked uneasy, but many dismissed her claims outright. Zara herself appeared then, walking gracefully into the square, her expression a perfect mask of concern. "Anna," she said softly, her voice dripping with kindness, "what's troubling you? Why would you say such things about me?" Anna glared at her, feeling the fury bubbling within. You know why, Zara. You've been lying to everyone. You've been using the villagers' feeding on them for your own gain. A ripple of gasps spread through the crowd. But Zara only sighed, her expression turning sorrowful. Oh, Anna, she said, shaking her head. I know it's been hard for you since your grandmother passed. Grief can make us see things that aren't there. I understand how much you miss her. She reached out as if to comfort Anna, but Anna recoiled. Don't you dare twist this, Anna shouted. You are the reason she's gone. Zara's lips tightened for a moment, but she quickly regained her composure. Everyone, please, she said, turning to the crowd. Anna is young and grieving. Let's not judge her too harshly for her words. She needs support, not anger. The villagers nodded, murmuring in agreement. To them, Zara's calm, compassionate demeanor only confirmed her innocence. Anna, you need rest, one of the elders said, gently guiding her away from the crowd. We'll hear no more of this foolishness. As the crowd dispersed, Anna stood frozen, her heart sinking. She had spoken the truth, but Zara's charm and influence were too strong. The villagers, blinded by her kindness and delicious food, refused to see the darkness lurking beneath her perfect facade. Feeling defeated but not broken, Anna vowed to find undeniable proof of Zara's evil. If words couldn't convince the villagers, then evidence would. As Anna lay awake that night, the weight of her failure pressed on her chest. The villagers had dismissed her, Zara's influence too strong for her words to reach their hearts. But in the silence of her thoughts, one memory resurfaced, a memory of her grandmother's voice, gentle but firm, telling stories of ancient powers that lay hidden in the world. Do not be afraid, Anna, her grandmother had said, her hands weaving tales under the starlit sky. There is a place, deep within the forest, where the river of truth flows. It is said to grant divine power to those with a pure heart. Those who seek its waters can challenge the greatest evil, but only if they are worthy. Anna's heart quickened at the memory. The river of truth. The very thing her grandmother had warned her about. It was a mythical place, spoken of only in hushed tones among the elders, a river where one could find the strength to confront darkness. Anna knew it was her only hope, the only way to stop Zara and free the trapped souls. She packed what little she had, determined to find the river and harness its power to defeat the woman who had stolen her grandmother's life. As Anna made her way to the edge of the village, she found a familiar face waiting for her. Peter, the village hunter, stood just outside the woods, his brow furrowed in thought. Though he was known for his strength and quiet demeanor, there was a pain in his eye zone that Anna recognized. You are going to the forest, aren't you? Peter asked, his voice low. Anna nodded, surprise flickering through her. How did you know? Peter hesitated, then sighed. Because my brother, he disappeared, just like the others. I've spent years looking for him, and I fear he's gone, like all the others. His gaze darkened as he looked toward the forest. I've heard the rumors. I've heard the stories about Zara. I want answers. I need to know what happened to him. Anna's heart swelled with both sympathy and determination. She had no time to waste. Then come with me, she said. I am going to find the river of truth. I'll need your help. Peter looked at her, uncertainty clouding his features. The river of truth? That's just a story, Anna. It's nothing but myth and legend. But Anna didn't falter. It's real, and I believe it can help us stop Zara. Peter hesitated a moment longer before nodding. All right, I'll go, but if we don't find anything, I am not sure what I'll do. The journey to the river of truth was fraught with dangers Anna had only heard about in her grandmother's stories. The forest, once full of life and beauty, now seemed darker, more menacing, as though Zara's power had seeped into its very soil. The air grew heavy, thick with the weight of forgotten spirits and hidden dangers. The deeper they ventured, the more they felt the presence of something watching them, something that would stop at nothing to keep them from reaching their destination. At first, the challenges were subtle, strange whispers in the trees, shadows that seemed to move with a life of their own, and the constant feeling of being followed. But then the true tests began. One evening, as they made camp near a small clearing, a thick mist began to rise from the ground, swirling around them like a living thing. Anna's vision blurred, and when she looked at Peter, he seemed to transform, his features twisted, his body distorted, as though some deep, primal fear was manifesting before her eyes. Anna, Peter's voice called out, but it sounded wrong, distant. It's too much. I can't go on. Anna's heart raced. This was no mere illusion, it was Zara's magic, a trap set to break their spirits. "Peter, listen to me," Anna shouted, her voice sharp. "Don't let it control you. It's not real." She reached out, grabbing his arm, and with all her strength, she shook him from the illusion. Slowly, the mist began to dissipate, and Peter's true form returned. He staggered back, gasping for breath. Did you see that?" he whispered, his voice shaken. Anna nodded. "Zara is trying to break us, to make us doubt ourselves. We can't let her. We have to keep going." Peter took a long breath, nodding slowly. "You are right. We've come too far to turn back now." As they pressed on, the challenges grew more intense. The forest itself seemed to fight against them, branches snapping underfoot, the ground becoming treacherous, and strange creatures stalking them in the shadow. But through each trial, Anna and Peter's bond grew stronger. They shared stories, their fears, and their hopes. Finding solace in each other's strength, they realized they were not just fighting for answers but for redemption. For the souls trapped in Zara's curse, and for the village that had refused to see the truth. And together, they would face whatever lay ahead. After days of travel, the dense forest finally began to part, revealing a breathtaking sight there. Bathed in soft golden light was the River of Truth. Its waters shimmered with an ethereal glow, reflecting the stars above and the trees that stood like silent sentinels around its bank. The river seemed to pulse with energy, as though alive, waiting for Anna and Peter to approach. But as they stepped closer to the river, a sudden stillness fell over the clearing. The air grew thick with an unseen presence, and Anna felt a tingling sensation, as though invisible eyes were watching her from all sides. Before she could take another step, a figure appeared before her, a tall, majestic being, cloaked in the colors of the river itself, its form shifting like water in motion. The figure's voice rang out, clear and resonant, though it came from no physical mouth. "Anna, child of the earth, you have sought the river of truth, and now you must prove your worth. The river's waters are sacred, and only those pure of heart may wield its power." Anna stood tall, her heart pounding, but her resolve unwavering. She knew this was no ordinary trial. It was a test of everything she had learned of her bravery, her faith, and her very soul. The figure continued, "To claim the power of the river of truth, you must face the shadows within you. You must show that you are selfless, courageous, and that your belief in good is stronger than your fear of evil. Will you face these trials?" Anna nodded without hesitation. "I will." The moment she spoke, the world around her seemed to dissolve. The ground beneath her feet vanished, and she was plunged into darkness. She felt herself floating, weightless, surrounded by an endless void. Then, from the darkness, a voice whispered her name. It was familiar, yet twisted, Zara's voice. "Anna, you are nothing. Just an orphan, lost and powerless. You think you can defeat me? You think you can stand against the darkness I control?" The words clawed at Anna's heart, trying to sow doubt. But Anna took a deep breath, her grandmother's teachings echoing in her mind. "You are not alone," she whispered to herself. "You are not alone." The darkness around her began to shift. Shadows swirled, forming images of people Anna loved and lost. She saw the face of her grandmother, bound by chains of dark magic, her spirit trapped in Zara's grasp. Then, the face of Peter's brother appeared, his eyes pleading for help. But Anna did not falter. She remembered her purpose. "I will fight for them," she said aloud, her voice steady. "I will fight for what is right." Suddenly, the shadows retreated, and the void was replaced with a vision of the festive vision of the village, the lives she had vowed to protect. Her heart swelled with love for her people, for the memory of her grandmother, and for the courage that had brought her this far. The figure reappeared, nodding with approval. "You have shown great strength, Anna. Your heart is pure, and your spirit unwavering. You are worthy." In that moment, a brilliant light erupted from the river's surface, bathing Anna in its glow. The waters parted, and from within the river's depths, a staff rose, glowing with divine light. It was tall and slender, carved with intricate symbols that seemed to pulse with power. The staff shimmered as if it contained the very essence of the river's magic. The figure extended a hand, offering the staff to Anna. "This is the Staff of Truth, a weapon imbued with the river's divine light. It will guide you in your fight against darkness, and through it, you will have the power to vanquish evil." Anna took the staff in her hands, feeling its warmth and strength surge through her. The energy of the river filled her, and for the first time, she felt truly ready to face Zara. "You now carry the light of truth," the figure intoned. "Use it wisely, for darkness will always seek to corrupt the hearts of men. But with the staff, You will have the strength to resist it." Anna nodded, feeling the weight of her responsibility. The river had granted her its power, but the true test lay ahead in the confrontation with Zara, the evil that had ensnared her village, and in freeing the trapped souls. With the staff in hand, Anna turned toward Peter, who had been silently watching. His expression was one of awe and respect. "It's time," Anna said quietly, her voice filled with resolve. Together they left the river's banks, the path ahead clearer than ever. Anna knew the final battle would not be easy, but with the sacred staff and the light of truth guiding her, she was ready to face Zara and bring an end to her reign of darkness. Anna's journey to the river of truth had given her strength, but the final battle was far from over. Zara's grip on the village was still strong, and the villagers, blind to her evil, needed undeniable proof of the atrocity she had committed. Anna knew that words alone would not be enough to bring them to their senses. She needed to gather the evidence, something irrefutable, something that would force them to see the truth. Under the cover of night, Anna made her way to Zara's restaurant. The smell of roasting meat, a familiar scent that once filled her with hunger, now only made her sick. She had already visited the kitchen once before, but this time she was determined to capture what lay hidden. Quietly, she crept into the back, avoiding the staff who were busy preparing dishes for the evening service. The kitchen was a whirlwind of activity, with pots clanging and fire crackling, but Anna's focus was sharp, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew where Zara kept the most intimate secrets of her operation, the locked room in the back of the kitchen, where only the trusted staff were allowed. With a quick glance around to make sure no one was watching, Anna slipped inside. The room was small and dark, filled with the smell of decay. As she fumbled for her phone, her breath caught when she saw the gruesome sight before her: human remains, meticulously prepared and hidden among the ingredients. Pieces of bodies, limbs, and organs, all neatly stored, ready to be cooked into dishes for unsuspecting customers. Anna felt a chill run down her spine. This was it, the proof she needed. She turned on her phone's camera and began to film, recording everything in detail. The bones, the blood-stained knives, the sinister ritual that Zara had made into a business. Her hands trembled, but she knew this footage would be the key to exposing Zara's dark secret once and for all. The next evening, Zara's restaurant was packed with villagers, the usual hustle and bustle filling the air. Laughter, clinking glasses, and the tempting aroma of Zara's signature dishes made the place feel like a haven of comfort and joy. Anna stood outside the restaurant, her heart pounding in her chest, knowing that the time had come. Peter, who had stayed with her during the difficult days leading up to this moment, stood by her side. "Are you sure about this?" he asked softly. "Once you do this, here is no turning back." Anna nodded, gripping the staff of truth tightly in her hand. "I have to. The village needs to know. If I don't do this, Zara will keep feeding them lies, and more people will suffer." With one last glance at Peter, Anna stepped into the restaurant, her eyes scanning the crowd. The laughter died down as she walked toward the center of the room, where Zara was greeting guests with her usual charm. Zara's eyes widened when she saw Anna approach, her smile faltering for just a moment. "Anna," she said, her voice smooth but edged with something darker. "What's going on? Why are you interrupting the service?" Without saying a word, Anna pulled out her phone and played the footage she had recorded, letting the video speak for itself. The room fell silent as the horrifying images of human remains being prepared in the kitchen filled the screen. Gasps of disbelief and horror rippled through the crowd. The villagers stared, wide-eyed and horrified, as the truth unfolded before them. Zara's perfect facade crumbled, her mask of kindness and charm slipping to reveal the monster underneath. The room buzzed with shock and disgust as the video showed the grotesque reality of Zara's crime-escher dark magic, the sacrifices and the lives she had taken to maintain her power. Anna stood tall, her heart racing, but resolute. "This is what Zara has been hiding from you. This is the truth behind her food, behind her restaurant." Zara's face twisted with rage, and for a moment, Anna feared the worst. But Zara quickly regained her composure, her voice cold and venomous. "You think this will stop me, Anna? You think a few villagers will believe your lies over the years of prosperity I've brought to this place?" The villagers, still in shock, murmured among themselves, their disbelief slowly turning to anger. "Is this true, Zara?" one of the elders asked, his voice shaking with fury. "Have you been killing us?" Zara's eyes narrowed. "You are all fools," she spat. "The power I offer is beyond your understanding. I've given you wealth, health, and protection. And this is how you repay me? But the villagers were no longer listening. The truth had pierced through Zara's charm like a blade, and the reality of what they had unknowingly supported was too much to bear. As the video played, the realization settled in Zara's restaurant was a place of death, not life. The food they had eaten, the dishes they had praised, had been made from the very souls of the villagers who had vanished over the years. "Zara," Anna said, her voice trembling with anger but strong in conviction. "You will not get away with this. The river of truth has shown me the way, and I will stop you." Zara's eyes flickered with fear for the first time, but she quickly masked it with a malicious grin. "You think you can stop me, Anna? You have no idea what I am capable of." But the villagers had seen enough. The video, the proof of Zara's treachery, had shattered her illusion. They turned away from her, their trust broken, their loyalty shattered. As Zara stood there, her charm fading, Anna felt the weight of the moment. The battle had only just begun, but the villagers had taken the first step toward the truth. Zara's reign of terror was over, and Anna was ready to face her, armed with the light of the river of truth and the strength of her ancestors. The restaurant, now filled with a heavy tension, seemed to pulse with Zara's anger. The villagers had turned against her, their once blind loyalty shattered by the undeniable truth Anna had revealed. But Zara was not one to be defeated so easily. Her eyes glowed with a cold, malicious light, and her lips twisted into a wicked smile. "You think you can stop me?" Zara hissed, her voice dripping with venom. "I've ruled over this village for years. You are nothing compared to the power I command." With a flick of her wrist, the air in the restaurant grew heavy, charged with a sinister energy. The lights flickered, and the shadows in the corners of the room seemed to stretch and writhe as if alive. Zara's form began to warp, her beauty fading into something darker, more grotesque. Suddenly, the shadows burst to life, manifesting into horrifying creatures, twisted, clawed beings that seemed to be made of pure darkness. They screeched and hissed as they advanced toward Anna and the villagers. Zara's laughter echoed through the room as she stood, her power crackling in the air around her. "Bow before me," she commanded, her voice a booming force of malevolence. "Feel the weight of my darkness and despair." The shadow creatures lunged at Anna, their claws reaching for her, their twisted forms seemingly intent on tearing her apart. But Anna stood firm, gripping the staff of truth with both hands. The divine light emanating from the staff pulsed brighter, casting an ethereal glow that pushed back the creatures. "Get away from me!" Anna shouted, her voice steady despite the terror that surged through her. With a wave of the staff, the river's divine light surged forward, slashing through the shadow creatures like a blade. They screeched in agony, their forms disintegrating into dust as they vanished in a puff of smoke. But Zara wasn't finished. With another flick of her wrist, illusions began to form around Anna, visions of her worst fears, her deepest doubts. She saw her grandmother trapped in the darkness, her spirit bound by Zara's magic. She saw Peter's brother, his eyes wide with terror, pleading for help from within the shadows. "Look at what you've done," Zara mocked. "You can't save them. You never could." Anna's heart twisted, but she gritted her teeth, refusing to succumb to Zara's trickery. "I will save them," she whispered fiercely. "I will save everyone." Anna raised the staff of truth high, channeling the full power of the river's divine light. The light burst forth like a blazing sun, filling the room with warmth and radiance. The illusions shattered, the shadows receded, and the oppressive darkness that had once dominated the restaurant was driven back. The light wrapped around the trapped souls, including Anna's grandmother. The spirits, bound by Zara's dark magic, began to stir, their chains dissolving in the glow of the river's power. Anna could feel her grandmother's presence, a gentle warmth filling her heart. "Grandmother," Anna whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. "I've come for you. I've come for all of you." The spirits of the sacrificed villagers, their faces filled with both sorrow and relief, began to ascend toward the light, freed from Zara's control. The once malevolent force that had gripped them was now vanishing, replaced by the peace of the river's divine light. Zara screeched in fury, her body contorting as she tried to fight against the light that was consuming her. "You cannot destroy me!" she screamed. "I am eternal!" But her words rang hollow as the light grew brighter and brighter, washing over her, unraveling the very magic that had kept her alive for so long. Zara's form began to distort, her beauty fading as her true, monstrous nature emerged. Her skin shriveled and cracked, her eyes bulging with rage and fear. She was no longer the charming woman the villagers had adored, but a withered husk of darkness, her true power exposed for all to see. As the divine light continued to shine, Zara's body began to disintegrate, the very magic she had used to sustain herself turning against her. The more she struggled, the more the dark energy that had kept her young and powerful devoured her from within. "Impossible," she gasped, her voice now barely a whisper. This isn't how it's supposed to end." But there was no escaping the river's power. In one final, anguished cry, Zara's body was consumed by the very darkness she had commanded, her form collapsing into a pile of ash, swallowed by the light. As the last remnants of Zara's power vanished, the room fell silent. The villagers, who had watched in stunned silence, now saw the full extent of Zara's evil, the truth laid bare for all to witness. Anna stood, breathing heavily but strong, the light of the river still glowing around her. The staff in her hand pulsed with energy, and the spirits of the trapped souls now soared above her, free at last. The village was safe. Zara's reign of terror was over. Anna looked down at the staff, her heart swelling with pride and sorrow. Her grandmother's spirit was free, and the darkness that had plagued her village for so long was finally gone. As the first rays of dawn filtered through the windows, Anna stood tall, the village now bathed in the light of a new day. She had fought for the truth, and the river's divine power had given her the strength to defeat the evil that had lurked in the shadows for so long. The village would heal, and with Anna's guidance, they would rebuild, stronger and wiser, ready to face whatever darkness might come next. The aftermath of Zara's downfall was nothing short of a reckoning for the village. As the villagers slowly came to terms with the horrors they had unknowingly supported, their regret was palpable. One by one, they approached Anna, each one's face etched with guilt and sorrow. "We were blind," one elder confessed, tears welling in his eyes. "We trusted her. You warned us, but we didn't listen. Forgive us, Anna." Anna nodded, her heart heavy but understanding. The village had been deceived by Zara's charm, and the weight of that betrayal was something they would all have to carry together. "Here is nothing to forgive," she said softly. "The past cannot be changed, but we can ensure that such darkness never takes root again." As the villagers apologized, they made a vow to one another. They would never allow their community to fall prey to another threat like Zara. They would protect each other, stay vigilant, and honor the sacrifices made to free the souls trapped by Zara's dark magic. With the sun setting behind them, the villagers gathered to watch as Zara's restaurant was torn down. The building that had once stood as a symbol of prosperity now lay in ruins, a physical representation of the end of her evil reign. As the last of the rubble fell to the ground, a wave of relief seemed to wash over the village. The tainted legacy of Zara was erased, and with it, the fear and darkness she had spread. As the village began to rebuild, many turned to Anna for guidance. The people had seen the strength, wisdom, and purity of her heart. They knew that she had led them to the truth, had fought for them when no one else could, and had freed them from the grip of darkness. The village chief approached Anna with a solemn expression. "You have saved us, Anna. You are our hero. Please, we ask you to lead us, to become our chief." Anna looked at him, then at the villagers gathered around. She felt their respect, their admiration, and yet she could not bring herself to accept their offer. She had never sought power, only the truth. "I cannot lead you in the way you ask," Anna said, her voice gentle yet firm. "I have a different path to follow." The villagers fell silent, disappointment flickering in their eyes, but Anna continued. "I will guide this village, but not as a chief. I will be your spiritual guide, as my grandmother once was. I will help you reconnect with the old ways, with the river of truth, and with the strength of our ancestors. That is my role." The village chief, though disappointed, nodded in understanding. "You are wise, Anna. The village will follow you, as they should." And so, Anna became the village's spiritual guide. Not a ruler of men, but a keeper of the truth. A beacon of hope in a world that had nearly lost its way. Days later, as the village healed and life returned to normal, Anna found herself standing at the edge of the river of truth once more. The air was crisp, and the gentle flow of the water calmed her troubled thoughts. She sat on the riverbank, the staff by her side, and closed her eyes, letting the peaceful sounds of nature wash over her. In the quiet, she felt a presence, a gentle warmth, a loving energy. She knew it was her grandmother, her spirit now at peace. Anna smiled softly, feeling a sense of completion. Her grandmother had taught her so much, and now, in her absence, Anna had become the protector of their village's soul. The bond between them, though no longer physical, was unbroken. "Thank you, grandmother," Anna whispered, her voice carried away by the wind. "I've made you proud." As she sat there, the river's waters, reflecting the light of the setting sun, Anna knew that the village would be safe, that its people would thrive, and that the truth would always be their guide. Her heart was full, and for the first time in a long while, she felt at peace. The darkness had been defeated, and in its place, a future of hope, unity, and spiritual strength had been restored. The story of Zara was now just a distant memory, a lesson in the importance of truth, vigilance, and the power of the river's light. And Anna, the humble spiritual guide, was ready to lead her people with wisdom, courage, and an unwavering belief in the good that still existed in the world.